of their parents now face. Many are desperately trying to pay off massive fuel bills. Others owe hundreds to finance companies, and 2 families are even being forced to sell their homes. It's all a grim legacy of the miners' strike. 6 months on, hundreds of families are still suffering incredible hardships and see no end in sight. The fathers of these children were men all loyal to the strike, and for more than a year survived on state handouts and help from relatives. Most bills were left unpaid, with building societies and other companies happy to wait until the end of the dispute. But now the dispute is over, everyone wants to recover their cash, and the miners' wives are left with a massive juggling act to try and pay all the bills. Some just can't manage it.
It isn't just a case of repaying the mortgage, it's paying the mortgage and the arrears, which comes to £180 a month, and we just can't do it, on top of all of our other bills.
You didn't have to pay your mortgage during the strike. What did you think would happen afterwards?
Well, we assumed that they would just put another year under our mortgage. Just instead of having a 20-year mortgage, have a 21-year mortgage. But they didn't do that. We assumed, they never said they would do that, but we assumed that's what they would do. But once the strike was over, that's it. They wouldn't extend it, they just want our arrears come no matter what.
We've got the rates bill, I mean, that's been in since April and we haven't paid it yet. We just haven't got the money to pay it, plus electricity.
I know a lot of people who are finding it much, much harder, because on strike you could sort of defer things and say, well, oh, on strike we have no money. Where now people are really demanding, and a lot of people are being really strict, and they're really sort of bearing down on people. We want our money, and we're not prepared to put off with such and such amount a week. We want the full amount.
Can you see any end in sight?
No. All the time we just feel there's death on top of our heads. You know, and all the time we just worry about it, argue.
So it's causing tension in the home then?
Yes, there's plenty of times I felt like leaving them and going home because I just get fed up to hear with it.
But thankfully the women are not being left to face their problems totally alone. Many gather once a week at the home of Florence Anderson in Hetton-le-Hole, herself a miner's wife and organiser of the Eppleton Area Miners' Wives Support Group.
People, and you end up really laughing about things. I mean, things that in a normal way would make you think, hey, what else can we do? But I mean, you end up laughing about it because it doesn't seem such a big thing when you've talked about it.
And the women are also having to come to terms with other problems too. The husbands who stayed loyal to the strike were in the minority at Eppleton, and the women claim they now face intimidation at work.
The men have to talk to the working miners because they have to work with them, because they're in fear of their jobs, because they could go to the management and report them for maybe even not talking to them, and they could get the sack for that. That's the fear our men work in, of being sacked for nothing, and there's a lot of men being sacked for nothing.
In time though, the women had hoped their tight-knit community could have returned to normal, with debts eventually paid and strike wounds healed. But Hetton-le-Hole has now been dealt another devastating blow. With the news the National Coal Board is to merge the colliery with the Merton complex, with a loss of 400 jobs.
It might be prosperous for a year, while the redundancy payments are still about, but after a year, the money's gone, and you're living on social security. And surely people had that during the strike, and the shops knew that during the strike, to what it's going to be like then.